Hello, I'm Donald Gribble. I'm an engineer hired by Agpro to design a timing system for dairy flush equipment. What we came up with was a number of requirements that we wanted to meet. We needed something that was hardy and weatherproof, be able to handle extremes of temperature. We designed for up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit down to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. We want it to be water resistant. We intend for this timer to be mounted outdoors close to the flush valves. We wanted a distributed system. That means we plan on using a number of small timers distributed throughout the dairy close to the flush valves. This will eliminate the need for trenching and running wires to a central controller. We think this is going to be quite a savings from the way that we used to do it, which was a central controller and then the cost involved in trenching and running wires all over the dairy to get to one place. We wanted to have a number of functions that we couldn't get by just buying a commercial timer. We wanted to be able to flush by time. We wanted to be able to flush by external input. And when we talk about flushing with external input, we had several ways we wanted to be able to flush. One was a momentary push. Also, we want to be able to push a button and have a time delay, a preset time delay. And even more than that, we wanted to have a momentary button to push and then get a delay and then a flush duration. And then on top of that, we also wanted the ability to sequence through a number of flushes, a number of flush valves going off in sequence. The timer we came up with is a 4-valve flush timer, and this is what it looks like. It's custom made. We manufactured the circuit boards and put it together here and did all the testing and design work here. So this is something that we have complete control over. We have 2 microprocessors in here. We've written all the software, so if we have to do a little bit of customizing, we can do that. And we think we've got a versatile product, and it's rugged and meets all of our design requirements. These are the main components of the timer. Here's the timer itself mounted in its faceplate. Here's a typical box that the timer will come in. Notice that this is a 4 flush valve box. I've got inputs that will be wired into here from external switches. We got the solenoid valves will be hooked onto here. Agpro makes a external solenoid valve that you would run the wires to run the solenoids. It takes 120 volt power in. It puts 120 volt power out to the solenoids to actuate them. And these connectors hook onto the timer itself, and then all this mounts inside the box, and then the box closes up like this so that under normal conditions it's very weatherproof. Some of the other parts and pieces that we need to be considering are the external buttons. Agpro will sell buttons that can be mounted close to the flush valve or distributed around the dairy, and those wires will be run into this box and give us inputs, the external inputs that we need. Also, this is the box that we use for a wash pin. It's got a couple different things associated with it. Here's a air actuated push button that goes on the side of the box. This can be either punched with your hand or pushed with your foot, and it plugs into the side of the box. And in a wet environment in a parlor, we like to actuate the wash pin using this kind of a button. The box also has an emergency stop on the outside of it, so that if the wash pin's going and you want to shut it down, you can close it here. The box will normally remain closed. Once you program up the times and durations you want, you close the box. You won't have any reason for opening the box back up. For each of our timers, we have a mode sheet that looks like this. And for example, this is a FV400, and we cycle the plus button to hit the cycle through the mode. So here's a clock, program times, manual flush durations, hand operate, clear programs, operate, and off. These are all the main modes, and you cycle through those using the plus button. Each of the main modes have sub modes, and to go through the sub modes, you go through the minus button. So for example, the clock mode has a clock set mode and a day set mode. So you cycle the minus buttons to go through the sub modes. And then the X and the O buttons on the face plate are used to set the digits. The X sets the first pair of digits and the O sets the last pair of digits. So this little diagram here shows the face plate and shows the plus and the minus button, the X and the O button, and that corresponds with what you see here on the top of this column. Here's the power-up sequence. Notice you saw the Agpro. It did the fast chirps in a row. That means that it's powered up correctly. And notice that it's jumped into the operator mode and it's starting to cycle through its screens. The reason it jumped into the operate mode and started cycling in through the screens is because last time I powered it down it was in the operate mode. So when you power it off and power it back on again, if you were operating, it comes back to the operate mode. It also remembers all the program times, and a lot of the variables that we enter are all remembered because we want those to be refreshed when we come back from a power off situation. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate through the menus a little bit. Again, we showed you earlier the sheet that has the modes and sub modes. This plus button cycles through the modes, the minus button cycles through the sub modes, the X button generally sets the first two digits, the O button sets the last two digits. These displays right here show the status of the outputs, and this bar right here, it shows various things depending on which mode we're in. So like I was saying, I'm going to cycle through the main modes. There's the clock mode, program mode, the flush time set mode, the hand operate mode, the clear program mode, operate mode, and the off mode. If you want to just leave the timer with no program events occurring, you just leave it sitting in the off mode. I'm going to cycle it back around to the cycle around to the flush set time modes. I'm going to see what we got there. Push the sub mode to get us into the flush duration 1, flush duration 2 set at 10 seconds, flush duration 3 is set at 10 seconds, flush duration 4 is set at 10 seconds, flush duration 5 is at 0, flush duration 6 is at 0, 7 is 0, and 8 is at 0. And if I wanted to change one, that's actually the settings I want right now, but if I wanted to change one, for that example, flush duration 2, I could cycle through the minutes, which goes up to 4, then back around to 0, or counts by tens, and go up to 50, and then back around to 0, but I'd like to have 10-second duration there. So now I'm going to switch back to the operate mode. Now on this little test setup I've got here, I've got different buttons, different types of buttons. I've got the external just push button. I've got one of the air switches like what we use on the wash pen, and there's another little button on the side of the box here. This one here happens to control input number 1. You notice I just pushed it. It's flashing number 1, which means inputs 1's on. And I have one load hooked up, which is this little motor, and it is the only load I have, so that's the only thing I'm going to see turn on and off. But you notice it just turned off. The way we had this programmed was for an external input, which I gave it with pushing the air button, to cause a 10-second on duration. So again, I pushed the external button, and now the motor comes on for 10 seconds. Now, external button number 2 is going to do something a little different. If I push the 2, what we're going to see is a momentary pause for 10 seconds, and then in a couple seconds the 2 is going to come on. There it goes. That means it's on for 10 seconds. So the way we had this one set up was to delay 10 seconds and then turn on 10 seconds. and then it shut off again, so the 10 seconds elapsed. The other ones, the 3 and the 4, were set up with no delays or durations. And so what happens is when I push the external button, it turns it on. I push the external button again, it turns it off. So these are our choices. Now we also notice that we've only got 3 inputs lit up right now. 3 of the outputs are active. That's also something that I can select. For example, if I wanted all 4 active, what I would do is I'd cycle around to the operate here, go into here. Now 1 is like a yes, it's like to set it to on, and so I cycle through the first ones here. Notice when I cycle through these channels, these are all 4 channels. They're all set to 1s, which are on, and you notice that. If I want to turn them all off, in that case I just turn off number 4, but if I wanted to get them all, I cycle through. Now all the channels are disabled and they're off. But let's go ahead and set them back to all on, all operational. Even though I don't have an input hooked on to number 4, we'll go ahead and show it as operational. So I'm going to slip out of here and can go back and do something else. Now let me show you again. Let me go back to the flush time modes I showed earlier. Duration 1 is for channel 1. That's the delay time. Notice we have it 0. So when I push that button, it operated right away without any delay, and it goes for 10 seconds. Yeah, delay 1. So if I go on to number 2, that's the on time for it. So it's on for 10 seconds. Delay number 3 is the delay for the number 2 button, and 4 is the time on for the number 2 button. And as you remember, we pushed the number 2 input, and it will delay 10 seconds and then turn on 10 seconds. And we're going to see that in a moment. The 5 is set for 0. That's the delay for number 3, and the duration for number 3 is set here, and also the delay for number 7 and the delay for number 8 is zeros also. So what those do is it acts just like a momentary switch the way we have those configured. So if I go back around to operate, you wait here in operate mode for a few seconds and then it starts cycling. And if you notice the numbers that we see up here, here's the time, here's the amount that channel number 1's been on, here's the amount that channel number 2's been on, and here's the amount channel 3's been on. And it says 4's been on for 2 seconds also. So anyway, that's what you see when the screen is cycling like this, the amount each channel has been on. And again, if I just push the number 3, the little flashing mode means it's on. If we watch the number 3 channel, so we've got 14 seconds on it now. When it comes back around to the number 3 channel again, it'll be 24 seconds. See, there it is, 3, now it's up to 24. So that's the way that works. Now the last thing that we can do is we can, besides having external buttons that cause things to come on and off, we can have things come on and off by time, and that's where we program right here. Another handy mode is the hand operate mode. This allows you to try the setting off the outputs without using any of the external inputs. And you can use this in troubleshooting, or if you want to cause something to turn on. We don't really plan on using this in day-to-day operation because we like the box to be closed all the time. But if you're doing maintenance or something and you want to turn on an output, here's how you do it. You can go to the hand operate mode. Like I was showing you, we can cycle between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. In the 1 and 2 mode, that means I push the 1 button, it turns on the number 1 channel. You can see our little load comes on. Push it again, it goes off. Same for the number 2. Now if I want to activate the 3 and the 4, I cycle around to where it says 3 and 4. Now the number 1 button cycles the number 3, and the number 4 button cycles the number 4. Again, we'd like to not have this box open 90% of the time, or almost 100% of the time this box is going to be closed. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the program mode. This is where we can start flushing events by the time clocked, by the time of day. And we preset those, both the time of the day that we want the flush occur and how long the duration is going to be in this mode right here. We hit we're in the program mode. I push the sub mode button. This PRE reminds us that this is the event area here. Remember, we got 4 channels, and I can cycle through the channels that we're talking about, 1, 2, 3, 4, by pushing this button, and we got 12 different events that can occur for each channel. So we can program 12 different times in. And so there we're back. We're at program number 1, event number 1. And that's when we'll start programming. So then we go to the next sub mode, and this 12 shows the time that we want to start, and it starts us off at 12 a.m. Suppose we wanted to flush, say, at 4 o'clock p.m. There we are, 4 p.m. We go to the next sub mode, and we want to set the duration. Well, let's say we want a 10-second flush, 20-second, 30-second. Maybe we want to go for a minute 30 seconds. Our maximum time, flush time, is 7 minutes. And of course it'll go up to 50 seconds in this column here. So let's say we want 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Go to the next sub mode. Now we can set which days we want it to go on. Most of the time we're going to want to go every day of the week. So we put this to a 1 and we cycle through our days. Oops, I skipped. Okay. Then the next mode shows the total time for program 1 that we've entered in. So far we've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds of time in. So now I'm going to go one more. Now we're back around to the event again. Now I want to program event channel 1, event number 2. Hours. Suppose last time we did one at 4 o'clock. Say this time we'll go at 5 o'clock. And the duration, we want to say, I don't know, 50 seconds. And the days, we'll set them all to on. If you notice, our time for program 2 is incremented now up to 4 minutes and 20, so it gives us the total time. So anyway, you go through, you set what event you want, you set the time of day, and then the duration, and then the last thing you do is you set the days you want the event to occur. Then when you're done setting all your events, you hit the mode button, go back around to operate, and now our channel 1, at those particular times of day, will activate and in this case run our little motor. That's a brief overview of the use of the timer, and of course one of the first things you're going to need to do when you first start programming is look at this sheet, become familiar with it so you know what your capabilities are, what the modes and sub-modes are, what values can change, and then you just navigate through all the buttons and get it to where you want it.